Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. This morning we'll be talking security. Security. It won't be the only subject matter, but later on we'll be also looking at APC, the party, news. We'll be doing that with Adamu Garba, APC chieftain. Later on he'll be joining us from Abuja. But right with me here, let me say good morning to my brother, Dr. Tony Ofoyetan, lawyer and DG International Institute of Professional Security. The way they wrote DG here, it even looked like OG. And I said, the man is an OG now. He's an OG, that's for. So OG is fine. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for making the time for us.
It's a pleasure.
You know, it's a serious, we'll be looking at Kaduna when we're talking about security. Unfortunately, security is not limited to any one place. We've been battling with that ever since the beginning of this administration. They have claimed, varying degrees of success. But Governor El-Rufai of Kaduna has asked for an urgent national effort because things are very bad. As he says, bandits kill 1,192, kidnap 3,300 others. It looks like it's a free-for-all in the Kaduna axis. What happened to our sense of law and order? If you're having, these are the kind of, I don't even know that you have these kind of figures for places like New York, where they say these are global, global crime statistics. First of all, how did you receive when the news was put out, and this is from Rufai himself, so you can't say people are, buttering it up, that over 1,000 people killed and 3,300. How did you receive it? Or did you have any inkling of that before through your professional, security colleagues?
For Kaduna, some of us are not too surprised about what is happening there. A lot of factors and variables are contributory to what is happening in Kaduna. Don't forget that kidnapping is a big-time business now. It's one of the means through which terrorism is being financed. And knowing full well that for you to succeed, you also have to shed some blood. That is why you also see the ancillary or incidental damages that would lead to death in the course of kidnapping. Statistically, in Kaduna in 2021, you see that an average of 9 people are being kidnapped every blessed day, according to the governor himself. And that is official report, mind you. That's official report. So if you have to do a proper report, it would shock you. But let's not go that
because
far.
People think that official reports tend to be conservative in the numbers that they reflect.
But having said so, I think one of the things that, number one, the stance of the governor that he was not going to pacify kidnappers and bandits is a contributory factor.
Okay.
Basically, because hitherto taking that position, there was the pacification of kidnappers, bandits, and all those stuff like that.
Right.
And I think he just like, look, enough is enough. We're not going to be paying again. But having said so, also, I think the governor himself been able to identify 2 factors being contributory to the ethnicity and the religion. I read the report of the governor, and he acknowledged these 2 factors as major factors. That is,
so people are probably not being fair because I saw some critical commentaries, people saying the governor should go ahead and resign, that this is it's an indicting report and we can take it because he's the person giving it to us. Those people are probably not being fair.
Well, I think Nigeria, we don't have the culture of resignation. So it's not a matter whether they are fair or they are not fair. Even the governor himself had not laid a good foundation for people to believe so much in him. Kaduna is a combination of Christians and Muslims. The northern part of it is predominantly Muslim. The southern part of it is predominantly Christian. You remember he damned the consequence and disregarded when it comes to choosing his deputy during the electioneering campaign, and for the first time went for Muslim ticket. Don't expect that it won't come back to you. So these things will come back to bite you. Yes, it will definitely come back, because this group of people that even ought to support you, either overtly or covertly, you will see that either they are not supporting you or they are being antagonistic at the end of the day, even without necessarily going arms and all those stuff like that. Now, you yourself as governor, you have acknowledged the fact that religion and ethnicity is a factor. If you look at what most of the problems are majorly, the attack are majorly from southern Kaduna axis, so which also justify the religious angle to it.
Okay.
Now, the fact that as we speak now, we've not really had people being punished, arrested and being punished, is a major bravado to the terrorists now that used to be bandits. You know, it's a major, you know, emboldening factor.
Let's touch base with our man, Lupe Asom, TVC News correspondent in Abuja, who also covered that story. He's standing by for us now. Good morning, Lupe.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for just squeezing us into your usually busy schedule. Now, the announcement by the governor, the very recent announcement that number of people have been killed, that is something in the region of 1,100, almost 1,200 people have been killed in recent times, and 3,300 others, in Kaduna have been kidnapped. The governor has called for urgent national effort. Give me your sense, because you're there, you're covering it. Give me your sense of what exactly that means.
Well, thank you. Basically, the governor described the statistic as a sad one. He said it's the sad statistics, and he was calling for urgent national effort. He said there should be improved technology in the fight, and there should be improved armament. And he also called for the deployment of more troops, the establishment of more boots on the ground in Kaduna State. Kaduna State is wide. These local governments are quite big. So the governor is calling for improved national effort. That's to make sure that technology is more technology is deployed, improved arms, more sophisticated weapons are given to our troops, and the police authorities are also beefed up to ensure that they tackle these criminals. The governor said for him, there should be no form of negotiation with bandits, because people who have consciously decided to take up arms and challenge the Nigerian state don't deserve to live. So basically, that's what's happening. He's calling for the improvement of security operatives.
Going by the you must have taken some public opinion in Kaduna. What does the public really think? Because as you know, there are aspects in the governor's style, shall we say, that doesn't exactly go down well with some people. So there might be some negative PR around the place. But what are the people saying? For instance, the governor, he's been very clear that even though he had engaged with the criminals before in an effort to see what could be done to help the situation by pacifying them, he's since said no more. What are people saying? One, about the governor's policy, and two, about the situation that we have. Do they think the governor that it's an enforced error by the governor? Give me your sense of what the people are saying, the ordinary people.
Well, of course, the governor cited situations in other states where these people were actually, where there were negotiations with these people. And of course, the situation is the same. There has been no difference. People are still being killed in those places. So he cited this to the people, and I think a couple of them are now convinced that actually there should be no form of negotiations with these bandits. But then we hear people complain when they have to go and make these payments make this payment, because that's the only condition to which their relatives will be released. Some of them have shown support to the governor, but then there are a few people who feel the governor should also, or the government should step in sometimes to maybe negotiate with them when a lot of people are involved and when they will be killed if those negotiations are not made. But the governor has said, look, our position is we are not going to change our position. These people don't deserve to live. They have taken up arms, they have challenged the Nigerian state, they have inflicted pain on people, and for the government, negotiating with these bandits or giving them any form of amnesty is arming them to do more harm. So that's the position. And the people, some of them are quite, there's a mixed feeling. There are a group which feel that there should be some form of negotiation, especially when a large number of people are kidnapped. That's talking school students now. And then there are also a group which feel that the governor is correct. So that's basically that's basically what we have here. We have two groups of people who feel two different things.
And since the governor, since his press conference, any news if there is any kind of reaction along the lines of what the governor is wanting, a theater command, for instance, and as you were telling us earlier, improvements in technology, any sign that indeed, as a result of the governor's plea, we're about to see a difference in the security situation, official security situation from previously?
Well, of course, there are proofs. The Nigerian Defense Headquarters has approved the establishment of a military base in Zango Kata, one of the most troubled regions in this state. So we were there last week. We visited the place. The groundbreaking will soon kick off, and they are going to establish that military base there to put an end to hostilities and ensure that some of these conflicts are resolved within that area. But then I must also tell you that the police authorities there actually said they were getting overwhelmed. They were already overwhelmed by the spate of killing in that place. So the security operatives were calling for the deployment of more troops. But then the defense headquarters has approved the establishment of that military base in that place. Where in that place, we visited the place, we saw the place marked out, and troops were already being deployed to that place. They were going to receive gunships to that place to ensure that there is a prompt response to any distress calls in that place. So with that, we are expecting that more troops will be deployed to the state, and more security operatives will be recruited to ensure that an end is put to this sad situation.
Okay. Well, Lupe, thank you very much, TVC News correspondent, Abuja. Thank you very much for, giving us this sort of a background. Appreciate your, time.
Thank you.
All right, then. So, there we have it. They want a theater, the governor wants a theater command. Lupe just said, okay, there's been some groundbreaking. But beyond all of this, people wonder if even the army, because we've heard stories, is up to the task. If, as Lupe was suggesting, the police are beginning to have a concept of being overwhelmed, how long is this going to go on for? And it looks like the security ball of this country has just been kicked down the road for whoever is coming up next to, oh yeah, take it from there. I've tried my best.
I think I would have tried to be as mild as possible. The security forces, they have the ability to do what they ought to do.
Okay.
The but is always the leadership at the political end. It's one. Then, of course, the strategic approach at the military end is also another. Uncle Yori, let's look at it from this angle. Since we've been fighting this insurgency and terrorism in this country, have you heard that the military went to any of these mountains in the nocturnal hours, were able to surround, all these terrorists and the like, catching them unaware? In most cases, maybe with the exception of very few cases, it's always a reactionary response. They attack, you respond. Now, what stops the military from going right into the forest, even when there are no assaults, even when there are no attack? Why don't you come or deliberate strategic policy, go into all the forest, which is now their habitation? The mountains, in Jos, from what we saw, they go as far as go into the mountain, they will stay in the mountain, come down in the middle of the night, attack the villagers, and go back onto the mountain again. Now they will be there. From there, they will have people that will be giving them food, supplies, and all those stuff like that. But what we see in most cases is you see the military either playing an ambush or waiting for them to come out and the like. I think that this approach should be changed in such a manner that even the forest, even the mountains will be uninhabitable for all of them. Now, if if you look at the issue of kidnappers and all those stuff like that, in those days they were putting them in uncompleted buildings. But now they no longer put them in uncompleted buildings. They take them to forest. They take them to the bushes. Now what stops you deliberately? If the military is able to take that bold step, which I know they are capable of doing, and go right into all the bush, forest to forest, bush to bush, mountain to mountain, cordle it out, demarcate it, with each platoon, attending to each area, and you have them sandwiched.
But that's not what we have right now.
That is not what we have now.
Let me take Bayo in Ilorin. Bayo, good morning, and thank you very much for holding on. Please go right ahead now.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Good morning to you guys. You're welcome, sir. I'm really sorry. This is just my opinion. I wish it can be respected as well. The Kaduna governor coming out with all this. Remember when people from the southern Kaduna was yelling, they've been killed, they've been kidnapped. I never heard the governor saying anything. What happened all these years? Things been happening. The governor didn't say anything. I think this statistic should be coming out every month. He should be able to be doing that every month if he's really genuine. This is the same governor that said, oh, the president should get these people and call them terrorists so that the military can be able to do their work. So what job the military has been doing on them? How many people have been kidnapped? How many people was killed? How much was paid out? All those should be allowed to everybody to know. And the so-called commissioner coming out, I heard from this channel when they say, where is the commissioner? Oh, you only want to come out when people are killed or being kidnapped. And guess what? That's what just happened. This is just politics. They're using people's head. I'm sorry.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much. Bayo, thank you very much for calling in. It is your opinion. Lupe was telling us in his report, and I think we also have inkling, that in spite of the official policy in Kaduna, no compromise with these people, but they are kidnapping. I mean, the figure is as high as it is, in the region of over 1,000, people killed, and triple that, kidnapped. But people go behind, so to speak, to do whatever they can to settle these bandits. So there's a problem here. There's an official policy. The governor, if everybody were to be in lockstep, maybe it might be different, but the people are saying that, look, I've surveyed the situation, and as far as I'm concerned, it's okay, sir, I've heard you. They then go behind and go and say, what can you do for me? Release my daughter, release my cousin, release my son. There's a problem here. There's a pull in two opposing directions. The governor saying none, and the people saying we have to be sensible about this.
The governor should learn from Lagos State. When it comes to payment of ransom, no government should be so absolute. It will shock you that America has a no ransom payment policy, yes, but they still do pay ransom. Yes.
One moment, Tony. Let me bring in George, who has called in from Ogban. Then please, you continue. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning.
Thank you for calling in.
I'm watching your screen. I'd like to contribute concerning the national effort on security as regard to El-Rufai statements.
Sure.
This is my opinion. We tend not to look at how we approach things in this country, because if you're talking about the military tackling the insecurity, let's look at the root cause of why they are not succeeding. We should begin to ask ourselves what is being taught in the war college. I appreciate the army to the extent to which they are fighting it. But at the same time, I'm beginning to ask a question based on whether the army, they know Nigeria. You can only curb insecurity in an environment where you have studied or which you have studied over the years. We talk about the run here, the run there, and they mention some places, some villages, if not for the good works that you journalists are doing, trying to say this information about kidnapping or attack that happened in one village. To be honest with you, there are some names I'm hearing for the first time in my life. So most times I feel that we are fighting insecurity of a place not known. One, if we look at the area of presidency as regard to the marching order he gives to the military, we keep talking about ungoverned space, where the government, were they not supposed to have studied the country before they vote for a presidency? There are questions that are not being answered. So they seem to be giving orders over places that are unknown.
Okay. I want to thank you very much for calling in. I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much for calling in. I appreciate your contribution. One of the things he thinks is that, look, we are not, he didn't say it like that, but we're not professional enough to know the terrain in order to do an effective job. That's a serious charge, because I would imagine that a professional force like the army, they have rangers and all that kind of thing. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, let me say that no individual will be able to know every nook and cranny of his or her country. Not even the almighty America president and all those stuff, even because there are remote terrain. But as an institution called the army, the Navy, the Air Force,
yes,
I believe they do.
And they can find out if they don't.
And they can find out if
they're going
don't.
to engage.
But let us not also throw away his very instructive contribution, to the extent that when you want to fight counter-insurgency, you need to understand the terrain. Not just understanding it, you now need to put people that have mastery of that terrain. Look at what happened in Niger Delta at a time when we were talking about the fight and the militancy and all those stuff like that. And the soldiers were having problems until, you know, the Navy had to come in. You have to have the assistance of some of these boys, because the creek is such that there are people that have mastery of the creek. Just like you talk about Sambisa forest, some of us don't even know that there are pockets of villages even in the forest that made it a tall order for the military to have a full-blown, you know, blast.
So there's a lot that the public doesn't know about the difficulty of the terrain and the job that they're doing.
So mastery.
Chidi has been waiting for a while. I'm so sorry. Good morning, Chidi in Kafanchan.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning, Tony Ofoyetan.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
In fact, the issue that has to do with Nigerian security, particularly as it has to do with Kaduna State, where I am domiciled, as it were, is really, really unfortunate. It is as if the governor, with due respect, El-Rufai, is doing some things that are being swept under the carpet in order to subjugate a particular sect of this country, particularly in southern Kaduna people. I know Kaduna is a multi-ethnic state where we have religion, like religion tolerance, Christianity and Muslim. But he is not carrying these people along as it's supposed to be. For instance, a few days ago, the president was able to be in Kafanchan. Everybody that was in Kafanchan, including my humble self, saw the avalanche of security operatives that were in Kafanchan. And if such security operatives can work in synergy and kinetically, I want to strongly believe that the issue of insecurity in Kaduna and every other place that we are having so much insecurity will be a thing of the past.
Okay.
I am calling on the government, both the federal, as it is now pleading for their support, to come and give us support, and come and give every sector of this country support, so that we can be able to defeat insecurity.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Chidi. Appreciate your call. Thank you very much, Chidi in Kafanchan, for calling in. the governor himself had acknowledged that there was a religious component to the entire thing. What is now left is that I think I can stick my neck out and say the perspective of the governor is that it is nowhere near what people are saying, that he is definitely dividing up, the citizenry of his state and his support. He's the governor of all of Kaduna. So this is my guess.
I understand your position. It's not a matter of sticking your neck out. It's a matter of recipsa liquitor. What you see speak for itself.
You think his actions?
To what extent has the governor been able to harmonize, has been able to bring all parties together? It's not a matter of what you think. It's not a matter of what is being said. It's a matter of to what extent has the governor, as it is now, to what extent has he been able to even penetrate into the southern Kaduna, win their support? To what extent? So if you are saying that, I understand your position as a journalist. I understand perfectly well. No, but you see, the truth is this. The governor
is the governor of the entire state.
That's what it's supposed to be. But is El-Rufai the governor of the whole of Kaduna State as it is? Look at event before El-Rufai came as governor. Then compare with when he came as governor for less than 8 years. Since the day he came till today, Kaduna had never known peace.
Okay, we're going to take a break at this point. But we're not done with the subject matter. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. We'll take your calls as well. We've heard from Mr. George in Ogba. Now, Mr. George in Ikeja. Good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, good morning, and good morning to Tony.
Yes.
Good morning,
Thank
sir.
you.
Uncle Yori, I beg, can you give me 90 seconds to say something on the two subjects, if you don't mind?
Okay, go on.
Now, Uncle Yori, please do not pray that your relation or somebody that is close to you is kidnapped. You will not be waiting for protocol to see that that person is free. So, we should not be very fast to blame people who bypass the governors directly, not to negotiate with the terrorists and go and release their and pay money. There are some people that have been kidnapped for up to 4 months in that state, and they are not seeing their relatives. So you cannot blame them if they are desperate and they want their relations released. But the question I want to ask about security, Uncle, when people like Tony and other security analysts are talking, at the rate things are going in this country now, I would like you to bring in, the security agency spokespeople to listen to what others are saying, so that they can take these things to their commanders. It looks as if we are just talking, but nobody is listening.
I would suspect that they actually are listening.
Governor El-Rufai brought out.
Okay.
In one state, and that is how it is in many other states. We just don't value life yet. The president has procured so many military equipment of recent.
Yeah.
We want to know, where are these equipment? Are they using it, and to what extent?
Okay.
If they are using them, how come that this insecurity situation is just on the increase every day?
Indeed.
So that is just a summary of my views on that one. As for the APC's convention, the gentleman from, on your screen at the other end is making sense to me. There are crises everywhere in the party, and you want to go to a convention with so many factions coming there. You are calling for an end to the party like that. But what he said that they should do the convention and primary at the same time doesn't look very tidy and feasible. They can postpone the convention, but the primary should not be merged with it. Because I know that there are officers going to be elected at the convention. When the officers are elected, they need time to also plan the primary. If you combine the two together, the confusion he is trying to avoid will still happen at that joint event.
Okay.
That's what I have to say. But another thing I wanted to remind you, sir, it is one thing, our people in the village I was born, they say it's one thing to prepare medicine for a madman. But do we know whether the madman will agree to take the drug? The leadership of APC, are they willing to see that there is reconciliation in the party? That's the key question.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. And also including for your proverb as well. You see, did he say, he said it's one thing to prepare medicine for a madman. It's another thing to get him to agree
to take the drug.
Okay, then. Now, I think we can leave that aspect and just return briefly to our subject matter, because that was my promise as we went away to break, that we just break away for a while. And now coming back to final thoughts on the situation, the security situation in Kaduna State, which people have commented on severally. True, we thought that when the Tucano aircraft came, there would be a marked difference. You said it.
Not just Tucano, Uncle Yori. One thing I want to give to this government is that unlike previous government, I think they had good opportunity and they made use of it in terms of procurement of military arms and armaments. As we speak, Nigeria is better off in terms of military armament. But whether it is meant to be deployed against terrorists, terrorism is a different ballgame entirely.
Okay.
But for the Tucano, I know very well that one of the challenges why they said they couldn't deploy against the bandits was because it was supposed to be against the terrorists and not bandits. But today we don't have bandits in Nigeria.
Exactly.
What we have are basically terrorists and terrorism.
Okay.
So what the military is waiting for, if you ask me, I think it is Aso Rock that can answer that question. Why? Because the military are just to obey command.
Okay.
And
so
the chief of defense staff cannot deploy such arm or ammunition without getting the direct order from Mr. President.
Let me squeeze in David. Mr. David is in Alimosho. Good morning, sir. Quickly, please. David? David, are you still there?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Please, very, very quickly. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
30 seconds.
Thank you, sir. Yori, God will bless you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir. God will bless you, sir. Yes, for this insecurity. Okay. As for the insecurity in Kaduna, the main problem is intolerance. Intolerance by the tribe there, whether religiously or politically. And the so-called bandits live within. Not that the army is not trying. And if I may suggest something, if the government can even put fire on that forest, let the soldiers go around so that whenever the bandits are on, they'll be able to pick them up.
Sambisa. Okay.
And as for the issue of the Congress of APC, if it goes well.
Okay.
Policy is a complete resolution. There will always be disagreement when election is coming. APC still have the best more than PDP. We know what happened in PDP 2003, 2007, and others. The APC is still today. The structure is very strong.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your calling in, David, but I can't take much more. Thank you very much, David. So sorry to have, interjected there, because I guess there was a bit more that you needed to say, but we did get the kernel of it. And so, well, Tony, here we have it. Well, first of all, on the political one, David thinks it will go well. This is politicians for you.
We pray it goes
Yes,
well.
this is politics. They will get to the brink, and then everybody will shape up. And as for the security one, well, we have to keep on looking at it. You brought out that other aspect of the political aspect. I think the authorities are also waiting to be sure that the Americans know that we're not using the aircraft and all these equipment
you see, Governor El-Rufai, as far as I'm concerned, should look inward rather than coming to the public. He is the governor of the state. He knows the main problem.
Okay.
I think he should look inward.
Thank you very much. DG International Institute of Professional Security and legal practitioner, Dr. Tony Ofoyetan.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.